All right, click the links to join the channel here or over at SubScribe, the various other links, Odyssey and BitChute. So, can you make comedies in this woke environment? The short answer is no, but let's drag this out for 10 minutes of a droning, rambling, vaguely racist and sexist video. If you're an SJW, please tune out and unsubscribe if you accidentally found this channel because you're a giant pussy who's probably cross-dressing, and it's a you problem. It's you and your dad, and it has nothing to do with me. So the thing is, if I remade this movie, I would first thing I would do would be race swap out all the non-white characters and like kind of go in the other direction with Hollywood and just make it all a bunch of blonde hair, blue eyed, some kind of Annette Funicello 1950s beach movie. So the thing is, they want to remake Scary Movie. Well, how this happens is a few of these Hollywood guys are having a barbecue, talking about movies, and probably doing a mountain of pharmaceutical enhancements with their beers, and just throwing ideas around with intellectual properties that they can get the rights to. Scary Movie must have been available. They made 4 movies starring Anna Faris starting in 2000, and they were a favorite of mine. The first 2 were excellent, but all 4 were solid. They were dumb comedies for the time period. And Not Another Teen Movie came out in 2000 as well, with the guy who went on to play Captain America. That was another really funny movie. But that was 25 years ago, before this current woke cringe revolution. If you remade the movies shot for shot with the same lines, I was trying to think about how that would go over. Probably not well. The modern Saul Alinsky kids would find it offensive or problematic or some other fake BS that they believe in because the globalist puppet masters told them to believe in it. Because SJWs are completely brainwashed by media and schools. They are the useful idiot clapping seals. They don't think, they just repeat what they've been told. That's why I tell them to tune out at the beginning of the videos, because they're long, passive-aggressive comments. Oh, God, it's just bleeding pussies. So the modern bullshit kids, they think they're punk rock, but they have so many rules on what you can or can't. You can't be punk rock if you're, and then they list like 24 rules. Like, how about you just go eat a bag of dicks? That's, I don't know, misogynist or misandrist or something, penis phobic or something. They have a lot of stuff on what you can't say or what you have to do so you don't offend their changing list of protected people that just, varies from day to day. Yeah, I was thinking it's got to be exhausting to be a leftist, and you're terrified of these little faux pas because you don't know what is the soup du jour of protected classes. You got to pretend to take pox or women seriously simply because they're above you on the privilege hierarchy. In their world, if a pox woman has a bad idea, they simply can't criticize them. Where we're free to criticize everyone and use creative, ethnic, religious, and sexual slurs. This scene in the movie, I think, was where there's a pox woman and she's on her cell phone watching Shakespeare in Love, and she's talking during the theater experience, so it's a little bit of a stereotype going on there. Could you remake that nowadays? And she gets, I guess, stabbed for it because everyone lines up to take a stab at her because they're so tired of talking in theater sort of thing. No, that would not be remade today. Though it would be, if I remade this, I just okay, go for it, just effing go for it and have a good. You just so it's going to be politically correct on purpose and not pseudo edgy, fake politically correct like the South Park is now, or It's Always Sunny and they totally cucked. But like actually 30 years ago making movies politically incorrect, which is just fun, silly movies. But in their world, they have this hierarchy and they have to abide by it, and it's so ridiculous because they take all this nonsense seriously. Anyway, so half of the 2000 Scary Movie couldn't be made today. It had jokes about gays, pox, sexual assault. And also had a joke about some fat chick. That was really funny, kind of rare. You don't see. We're gonna have to bring back fat shaming, just to see the response on social media from fat offended people. It's like the answer to that is, have you considered eating less? Like, no, you understand. It's more complicated than that. No, It's really not. Anyway, it had jokes about normal people as well, but you're always allowed to go after blonde people. There was a line in there about the two characters, the two Pox characters. I think one of the Wayne brothers not having a dad. The stuff was so over the top, but the modern soy pussy people would pretend to be outraged so they can get online and virtue signal. And there were sex jokes and fat jokes and different colors jokes. And a lot of it was just pretty young girls running around. It was stupid fun for the time, but there's no comedy allowed in a woke environment. And I read the writing on the wall on that in like 2015-ish, 16-ish. 2016-ish, I guess. You saw what happened to the left wing with Trump derangements, and these people went freaking crazy. And actually, the only comedy that really hits hard is deliberately over the top offensive humor, like talking about gays and blacks and then juxtaposing it to normal people. My delivery might suck, but you can do that sort of thing so deadpan that the audience thinks you're serious. Their inner SJW starts to come out, and then they catch themselves and realize that they got played. It's like in Something About Mary, somebody sincerely expresses concerns about the retards. People could still write movies like this. There are funny people around, but they're called Nazis by the left wing. And there's that girl on YouTube talking about the invaders taking fat white girls, and some virtue signaling pussy walks out of the stand-up show. The thing is, there are jokes that are ripe for exploring to the point where you'd be holding yourself back because there's just so much material out there. But the issue is there are like, where would you go to do this kind of stuff? There are few platforms that would allow you. The censorship of YouTube is insane. Even me saying the R word was a bit of, I hope they allow it in the context, is a little bit of a issue, because the computer is just picking up keywords and demonetizing based on that. That's why I have to use so many stupid euphemisms. Or for stand-up and comedy clubs, the SJW freaks will pressure the clubs to cancel a comedian. If that doesn't work, the bullshies will pressure the businesses, the advertisers, the vendors that do business with the club and get them shut down that way. Which is why there are very few Owen Benjamin types singing about stolen bikes, and why nothing is funny in the mainstream. Leonarda Joni and Chrissy Mayer are chicks who are funny and not politically correct, but the trans militia pressures clubs to shut them down over just absolutely nothing. The left wing cannot allow free speech, because otherwise we'll just point out how stupid the left wing is. So they have to censor, but since they can't replace it with anything, you're left with this new type of comedy, which isn't comedy. It's virtue signaling, the Hannah Gatsby types who legitimately aren't funny. They're not doing stand-up. They call it something else now. It's like a special evening with, some obese lesbian comedian who is just whining about how fat they are, and the patriarchy is hiding their donuts, and how they're mad about the first world Western country they're in. And go, what about those other countries? Those Middle Eastern countries, African countries? How do they treat women? It's like, we're not going to talk about that. Okay. Anyway, you've got the Sarah Silvermans and the Sacha Cohens who make their money, but now that they consider the comedy that they did a few years earlier, pre-Trump, that is wrongthink. So they, after they're worth hundreds of millions of dollars, they just pull the ladder up after themselves. And look at all the new comedians who are up and coming and want to do politically incorrect comedy. It's like, no, this is just, it's time to put that away. It's like, so you're worth $150 million based on all that stuff you did? It's like, yep. The thing is, that just means it's the time to double down and go after those types of comedians. But without a platform, it's going to be tricky. Eventually, I think a lot of those stand-up clubs are just going to have to convert to doing live music or something, because we're controlled by these. We're controlled by the worst people on earth. The people who visit islands and engage in some kind of Moloch sacrifice or whatever. Anyway, the thing is, I don't know how you make a funny movie today, because their idea of funny movie is just non-European people making fun of blonde people. That was old in 2015. And the thing to do would be go in the other direction. Just step on the gas and just go, we are going to go all the way. And then if you make the movie of, Robert Downey Jr. in blackface, well, I don't know what movie that was. What was that called? It wasn't Zoolander. They're set out in the jungle. That was really funny. And even when he was doing that, he was having some serious second thoughts about doing that, I would too. But it totally worked. Maybe maybe Netflix will be the platform. I know there are a bunch of Epstein types because they did that Cuties movie. But if they'll allow Chappelle to do his stand-up things, then maybe they're the network that are finally going to start pushing back. If you want to do scary movie, get a bunch of 20-year-old girls who are into lingerie ghost fighting scenes and have Larry David and Owen Benjamin write it for you. Just nuke everyone from orbit, but they won't. They're going to remake this, I think, next year, and it'll just be a BlackRock Vanguard checklist, non-Euro diversity cast, and every stupid character will be blonde. It will be insufferably woke. And the last great movies were Lord of the Rings, and that was 24 years ago. It's why so many people are watching older movies and playing older video games, even listening to older music, like pretty much before 2005. Hollywood was always woke, but it's to the point now where it's not worth paying money for. I remember I don't remember a time where kids were ever this brainwashed and just so gullible and naive that they're trusting the media, the government, and big companies that have an interest in selling a product and getting you to take it. The farming companies type of stuff. It's weird to see the left wing is fully on board with Chase Bank and BlackRock and every major corporation, and they still hold their little fists up in the air and think that they're BLM. It matters. I don't care who hears me say it. It's like the John Boyega guy said that in Star Wars. Like, every major corporation is saying that. You work for Disney. Disney's the one saying that. You really think you're doing something stunning and brave? That was in, I don't know when that was. It was so... the left wing are so deep in an echo chamber that they somehow think Hollywood is run by right-wing white conservatives or something just effing bizarre. The thing is, movies, video games, and Warhammer's going through its thing now with Larry Fink is taking that over. They're not in a vacuum is kind of the main issue. So yeah, you could make a scary movie now if you wanted to, if you went after Antifa and BLM and whatnot. You could have a whole lot of fun with it, but they're not going to do that. Or if they did, instead of the black women who were stealing BLM money and buying property, which they did, and nobody ever went after the billions of dollars that just disappeared, they would substitute in a blonde lady just walking off with briefcases full of money. That's their idea of edgy. Or a blonde Antifa Paris Hilton rich girl type in a convertible Porsche virtue signaling about some cause she didn't understand, and the black characters would be rolling their eyes. It would be painfully stupid when they could go after, the BlackRock types making everything so insanely woke. I mean, there's a lot you could do, but the financial system is tied into the movies, which is the creative side, which is tied into the distribution. So all these things have to work together, and then they can be pressured by the associated companies working with them. But a really big company could do it, like Disney or Amazon or any one of these big companies could go, you know what, we're going to be Netflix. We're going to be the company that is going to be politically incorrect. We're going to be pro-free speech and all this kind of stuff. And you could totally go for it. But they don't. And don't you think it's weird that there's a demand out there? The audience wants politically incorrect humor. They want to see the court jester go after Biden and Kamala and these, the wealthy globalists who are pulling the strings on these kind of things. There's a demand out there. So that's one side of the contract, is the demand, but it's not being met. And there's money out there on the table and nobody's meeting it. Doesn't that seem weird? It should seem very weird. Anyway, Limp Bizkit was right. In the 90s, everyone is lame and everything definitely sucks. Anyway, click the links and you will have clicked the links. I'm gonna have to skip all the politically incorrect stuff at the end. I guess I put on the other platform. It's YouTube. The censorship on YouTube is just so off the chart. Anyway, like, comment, subscribe. I'll see you guys all next episode.